Hello and welcome to the Catalog Collector. Today we'll be taking a look at another independent watchmaker from Germany, Thomas Ninchritz. Thomas Ninchritz is a very interesting watchmaker because he is essentially a one-man team. Well, perhaps some other people, which we'll get into later, contribute to some decoration of the watches, but his watches are not in-house. They're not anything like that. What he does is basically take ETA 6497 movements and refinishes them, and perhaps adds some interesting things to it, but it's based on ETA 6497s. Now, let's get into the catalog. It's a softcover catalog, small little pamphlet thing, and I like very much. We go through it, and at the beginning we have some photos, some history, some things like that, about the history of everything and tradition and all of that. And we have Thomas Ninchritz has watchmaking in his genes. His grandfather on his mother's side was a master watchmaker. Grandfather on his mother's side. Yes. And here we start seeing the movements. There's one caveat to this catalog and photos, and that these movements are not completely up to date. We'll get into the changes a bit later. But as you can see, it's a 6497 that's finished, with chatons, blued screws, an engraved balance cock, beveling. It's really nice. It's very similar design configuration as to some of the basic Bluth watches, but that's at a 6497. But the finishing is quite different in this big regard. The striping is circular stripes, which I think add to this watch greatly. It makes it very special and very nice. We move through it and see some of these watches, and as you can see, this case, well, this is a meteorite dial version, but this case is unique. It's interesting. It has sort of squarish rectangular lugs. Here you can see them better, which I would personally prefer more curved lugs, but that's my personal taste, and honestly with these watches it fits. It really does fit the entire design of the watch. It works together very well, and I mean I like it very much. We can see, and this is a very German way of doing things. Here we see a completely different dial design, a sort of a pilot's watch. Another completely different, with a slightly different movement, with the small seconds up at the 9. Well, 6497 has that, so I guess that's 6497. And these with the small seconds are, where's the movement? Come on, where's the movement? Should be somewhere. Where's the movement? On one of these there should be a movement. I guess this would be, well, something like that. Yeah, so this is the Grand Second, my personal favorite model from him, with the, especially with the Arabic numerals, but even with the Roman numerals, it's quite nice. I like the hands. I like all these dials here are silver, so interesting difference between Dornbluth and Thomas Ninchritz. Dornbluth has more of a focus towards ceramic dials, while Thomas Ninchritz makes silver dials. I like them both. I think there's many things you can do with a silver dial you can't do with a ceramic, and vice versa. Speaking of vice versa, well, this is the cathedral, I don't know, I like calling it cathedral. The cathedral, it's beautiful, quite beautiful. The hands, the font, it's very unique and very nice. He does make a regulator watch, that's this kind of thing, with hours, minutes, seconds on 3 different dials, and the vice versa. This is what Thomas Ninchritz makes that is his own take on a movement. He took the 6497 or 6498, in this case, yeah, 6498. They're basically the same movement. 6497, 6498, I'm calling them one. What he did basically is flip the movement. Make it so that you can present the hands on the back. The hour and minute hands are on the back of the movement, which means you flip the movement around, and on the front you can see the movement. It has chatons, it has blued screws, it has amazing striping, it has beveling, it has an engraved balance cock, it has all the finishing you need, and it's quite unique. Slightly more expensive than the base models, but just look at it. Continuing, we see some completely different dial designs, and here we have a very interesting skeleton with engraved skeleton. This is the way a skeleton should be. Of course it's sold out, but anyway, that is the end of this catalog, which is both in German and in English. That's the price list, like I said, and the important thing I have to talk about is that this catalog is slightly out of date. Based on these pictures, you would think that perhaps the engraving isn't quite as good as it could be, or something like that. Well, the engraving has been updated. Let me see if I can pull up an image. Right here. This is how the engraving looks right now. It's done by a master engraver, and it's perfect, basically. It's amazing. Oh, and I forgot to add, there is a swan neck regulator. The engraving is really nice, and I especially like this sort of grained area right here where the regulator is usually without the swan neck and anything, just the regular ETA 6497, 6498 have this, and I like how he does that. Chatons, of course, beautiful, graining beautiful. This is a better image to see all the interesting details. The beveling over there. Actually, this picture doesn't show the beveling quite as good as it is, but I don't have any pictures to really show the beveling completely. Chatons, everything, just look at it. And, well, that's Thomas Ninchritz. Very small company, very small range of watches and what he offers, but it's some pretty nice stuff. It is quite comparable to Dornbluth, and I'd say it's even smaller and more niche and more personal. Thomas Ninchritz is a company you communicate with while the watch is being made. And that, I think, is quite nice to have, especially at this price range. I keep talking about the price. The price is amazing. It really, really is. Here's the nice little price list, which is slightly transparent, and I quite like this tissue paper one. The watches cost the base model sort of steel watch and the basic movement, it's between 3.5 to 4,000 euros. And that is very similar to Dornbluth. They're slightly different than Dornbluth, and in my opinion have some, well, perhaps more interesting things about them. But so, yeah, you get that kind of price range, which for what you're getting is just incredible. For that price, you from big companies, you can't find anything of this quality. You can't. You really can't. And I mean, vice versa or no vice versa, these movements are spectacular. They're incredible. And I really like the company. I hope he does what Dornbluth did and makes his own in-house movement, perhaps. Add some nice features. That would be nice in the future. But even if he doesn't, these are some pretty nice watches. And they're one of those watches that I would definitely have, and I do definitely have on my list when I will get my real watch, a real good watch for myself. This is at the top of the list. So that's Thomas Ninchritz. Not much else to say, except that, well, look at the movement. Thanks for watching the video to the end. If you liked it, please subscribe and like the video. Perhaps consider supporting me on Patreon. Any support would be greatly appreciated. I will be coming out with catalog collectors once a week for the foreseeable future. Of course, until I run out of catalogs. We'll see what happens then. See you in the next one.